Alright, brother. So today I want to tell you about a secret war that has been going on. And this war is for your most fundamental freedom. This war is against that. Alright, brother. So today I want to tell you about a secret war that has been going on. And this war is against your most fundamental freedom. So it is important to you. Alright? This is the war against your freedom of thought. So we have a lot of freedom. We have a lot of rights. We have a lot of things that we can do, that we can choose. And those things are like the freedom of religion, freedom of speech. But the most fundamental thing is our thoughts, right? But the reality is most of our freedoms are taken away from us by corporations, right? So corporations or political parties. If you got the freedom of speech, you can see that this with Andrew Tate, right? He don't have freedom of speech anymore because he's speaking out the matrix, the controlling government faction. So we clearly don't have freedom of speech. But now they are attacking a freedom of thinking as well. And it's really sad to see this happening. But we need to fight back, alright? But first I'm going to be explaining like who are the enemies, like who are the people that are fighting for your freedom of thought. So the most obvious one is all the lust companies. You know, the way essentially the solution of theirs, like porn, solves the problem of desire, right? The problem of lust. So in order for them to have more demand, they need to have more desire, right? Because if people didn't felt lust, then they wouldn't, watch more. But so the way that they increase demand, increase lust, is through hijacking your thoughts. If you're like me, you probably got into the whole not so good content when you were young, right? And that's what they do. They take people who are really, really young and they just expose them to this content. And by watching those content, they get into a pattern of thinking. Like you probably like know this if you've been addicted to not so good content, right? And like how bad it messes up your thoughts. You start like imagining certain things and it just fucks you up, right? So that's how they get into you. They condition your thinking. That way you become a customer for them for life. Alright? That's how they like increase their LTV, which is like the lifetime value of a customer. So in order for them to make more profit, they need to hijack your thinking. Alright? And it's not just these companies. It's also the social media companies. They need to condition you to think about, oh, what are my friends thinking about, how many likes I have got, how many views am I gonna get. They want you to be consistently thinking about those things, because if you are thinking about those things like the views, likes, or the views that you get on your stories, how many followers you get, how many followers you have, all of those stuff, then if you think about those things most of your day, then you will get addicted to their products. And if you are addicted to their products, they will make the most money, right? So they're financially incentivized to hijack your freedom of thought. And this is the same with like the Matrix, what Andrew Tate calls. Like he tells that the Matrix was meant to be weak and feminine, right? And it's the same thing. The Matrix is doing the same thing. They're hijacking our thoughts, thought patterns, through propaganda like feminism and all that stuff, right? And advertisement. So now we know the enemies. How are we gonna fight this? How are you and me gonna fight these billion-dollar companies, like these governments with billions of dollars in their GDP, right? Well, it's very simple, alright? Because even though that they might have gotten for us till now you and me, we know how to control our minds, and it is through disidentification from our thoughts. The only way that these companies, government could take our freedom of thought is if we identify with our thoughts. So if we disidentify from it, meaning we, instead of being the thinker who's thinking, instead of being the thought, for example, let's just take an example thought of, oh, like how many views am I gonna get in this video? Instead of being that thinker, because imagine this, imagine if I identify myself from that thought of how many views am I gonna get in this video. I'm gonna think about it, and I'm gonna worry whether the views will be too low or too high, and that will affect my performance in this video as I'm speaking right now, right? And as a result, the video will be shit and the views will go down, and that will just increase my worrying of, oh, like I need to make this thumbnail, I need to make this title, I need to improve my speaking to get more views, and that would mean I will spend more time on YouTube. And the more time I spend on YouTube, the more money they make. So you see how identifying with your thoughts is the key component that these companies need to profit from you. So what if instead I go on a separate route? Instead of like identifying myself with these thoughts, I disidentify myself with these thoughts. So instead of saying like, instead of like being the thought that says, oh, will this video get views, instead of that being that thought, I became the observer that is watching that thought. So I watch that thought in my head or whatever, right? So now it's less like, oh, will this video get views, high views? It's now, oh, I have this thought inside my head that says, or that worries about whether how much views these videos are going. It's cool, I'm just gonna let it there, I'm not gonna do anything about it, right? Like I don't give a fuck. So because of that, like I don't care if I don't become anxious right now when I'm talking to you, right? And the performance will be decent, and that's it, right? Like you get a good value from the video by me not disidentifying myself from that thought, and because you get good value, the video will perform better, and I will make more money, all right? So, and I don't even like spend more time than worrying about the titles and thumbnails and shit, right? So the companies like YouTube, they're not even gonna make that much money. So do you see like how important this identify yourself from this is? Like it is key in this war. And trust me, bro, you do not want to lose this war. You remember those dark times? You see like how dark like most other people's lives are at our modern age. They do not have any fulfillment. They just escape their life. Their whole day is filled with escapism. They escape on social media, they escape on video games, they escape on porn. They don't have anything that fulfills them. Do you know how empty that feels inside? It's killing them inside. But now we have you and me who are fighting. And chances are, like, I know you have been meditating for a while, right? And you have learned to disidentify yourself a little bit at least. And you know how amazing it feels to be in control. You control what you do in your day, you control which direction that you want to do, and people trust you more, girls respect you more for it. Like, it's an incredible life to live, all because you have the freedom of thought. You know how to disidentify yourself from your thoughts. So this is not something that you should just not take seriously. You should take this incredibly seriously, and you need to fight hard in this war, because bro, you don't want to lose this. This is the one war of our generation, and if we lose this, we are going to suffer. Our loved ones are going to suffer. Our kids are going to suffer.